and welcome to another brand new edition of Sports Corner. I'm your host, Felix Reyes Jr., and with me I have Adre Miller and Curtis Killings. On today's show, we have a top wide receiver who will be catching passes from a new quarterback next season, NBA playoff seeding at the bottom of each conference, and who we think is the team to keep an eye on in this upcoming Major League Baseball season. But first, let's jump into a little March Madness. The Final Four is finally set. Number 1 seed Florida versus number 7 seed UConn, and number 2 Wisconsin versus number 8 Kentucky. Who do you both think will get to the championship game and why?
Well, I believe Florida is no doubt going to beat UConn. You know, Florida had the ability to end in teams' amazing run in the NCAA tournament. And to be the only top seeded team still standing. Florida also ranked number 1. The Gators defense, which is ranked number 1 in the country, and they have, tournament opponent to less than 1 point per possession. They should have no trouble scoring against with caution. Their defense, there is no reason I feel, Florida, they can't beat Kentucky team. They already defeated them 3 times this season, and when Napier isn't knocking down, jumpers or penetrating the lane on the defense and open shots for others, the rest of the UConn offense, they can't contribute without them. And I believe Kentucky is going to beat Wisconsin. For some reason, we know they had the best rebounding weapons, left in the tournament. And the last 3 wins against Kentucky, they have out rebound each one of their opponents by average of 9.3 boards per game.
Okay.
And Kentucky, they also beat the only unbeaten team in the with Cheddar State, the defending national champs Louisville, and the defending runner-up Michigan, and a route to the Final Four. So. Okay.
And so what do you think, Curtis?
Well, the team where I say that was going to get to the championship, and the reason because the Kentucky Wildcats, they will get to the Final Four championship because it has been like. As of now, they've been well earned because they normally have a master potions within that program, and they're known for what the coach John Calipari they'll recruit, and they've earned the leadership role and the achievements to that program, and having the 5 freshmen that they did recruit onto this starting lineup, they had throughout mainly 3 of the freshmen throughout the top 5 seeds. So they was able to go and defeat these teams at number 4 of Louisville. Number 2 came in as they also defeated was Michigan, and the team, as Andre mentioned, was Wichita State. And that's big determination going into the Final Four with only 9 freshmen and only 2 sophomores. These is the whole team that these guys has had. And another team which we also which is I picked them to go into the championship. But as to answer your question, the Kentucky Wildcats, they will be the 2004 youngest champions, along with the history of the 2012 who beat the Kansas to win that trophy.
Well, I think the championship game will be a rematch of the SEC tournament title game. I think Florida will end up playing Kentucky. The Florida-UConn game will come down to the matchup at the guard position, where Scotty Wilbekin will have a tough task of trying to slow down Shabazz Napier. In the last matchup, Napier scored 26 points, handing the Gators their second loss of the season, and the Gators have not lost a game since. They've gotten much better defensively since then, and if Florida can slow him down and force turnovers off those high ball screens, I could see them winning that game. Now for Kentucky, it comes down to one thing: rebounding. Kentucky is one of the better rebounding teams in college basketball, ranking 5th of offensive rebounding, but Wisconsin isn't bad themselves, ranking 12th in the country. If they can rebound the ball effectively, they can win this game. Now that we know who each of us has in the big game, who do you think is going to win it?
Well, to win it all, the team I feel that will win the championship is the Florida Gators because under Billy Donovan, he has a knack of surprising, the runs in the NCAA tournament. The Gators, they pushed to stop George Mason in the national semifinal to win it all back in 2006. So also down to the Florida Gulf Coast, a.k.a. the Dunk City of last seasons, where, that eliminated them into the Sweet 16, and 11th seed, as they did into this season, was Dayton, Ohio. And to get into the Final Four season. In addition, and to being the top seed still standing, Florida's also ranked number 1 overall efficiency ranking and comfortably, of Wisconsin, Kentucky, and UConn. All three of those teams, they have the over efficiency. And with defense, which is number one as its counted efficiency has held each tournament opponents to less than 1 point possession. The Gators' balance or the boards also give them advantage against UConn, who is 200 in the country in offense and defensive rebounding, as you noted, which was important for that team to go against Florida Gators playing. So, they will have no trouble scoring against, Wisconsin, against the Wisconsin, because the defense, they're compiling reasons, and I believe that Florida can beat Kentucky team, which it has already defeated within the same division 3 times already this season.
Okay, what's your take on that, Andre?
Well, Florida, they have the team chemistry, and no matter how much talent a team may have, chemistry is essential to playing at a top level.
Mm-hmm.
So, lucky the Gators, they have both. They have both on. So they have the winning streak that they have, and I don't think no team will go like 30 games winning for nothing and come this far and lose. They have the experience. They went 2006 and 7. Billy Donovan and his experience and coaching ability puts Florida way ahead of the competition, as I believe he lead the Gators to another championship this year.
Okay, well, I'm going to be the oddball out because I see those young men from Kentucky cutting down the nets. Like I said earlier, this game will be a rematch of the SEC title game, where Florida only beat them by a single point. Since that game, Kentucky has been on a tear. They're the only team in recent history to beat 3 teams that were in last year's Final Four in Wichita State, Louisville, and Michigan. This is a very confident bunch, starting 5 freshmen since the Fab Five did it in 1993, and the Harrison twins have been playing very well, feeding off each other throughout the tournament. Their leadership has been a really large part of this run, and it will be very difficult for a Florida team to beat such a talented group 4 times in one season. Now, don't forget that this was the preseason #1 ranked team in the country, and they're finally starting to play like it. Now, when we come back, we'll talk more about a wide receiver who will be catching who will have a new quarterback next season.
Cookman has treated me fairly. I'm in the band Auxiliary 14 Karat Gold Dancer, so it's been pretty fun. The away trips, I try to get my work done, so that way I'm not just procrastinating or getting behind. I get frustrated all the time, but I try to think about my scholarship. That's a big deal. From high school to college, it's different because in high school, you have to wake up every morning. Your parents take you to school. They're dependent on you to go to class, but in college, you're on your own. You have to wake up and be to class on time, and you only have so many absences before you get dropped. And you're paying for college, so why waste your parents' money? Stay focused, be determined, and have time management.
To 7 p.m. for help, assistance, and motivation on each station available. The equipment that our facility holds is compatible with any other institution. That is the inspirational energy that dares you to go the extra mile, commit to that extra goal, and aim for those aspirations. You can throw in the towel, or you can use it to wipe the sweat off your face.
Welcome back. If you're just now joining us, we wrapped up our predictions for the Final Four this weekend. Now, this past week, wide receiver Deshaun Jackson was released from the Philadelphia Eagles for suspicion of gang affiliation. He recently signed with the Washington Redskins, and we know how great of a player he is on the field. So the question I have is, do you feel that this was the best fit for him?
Absolutely. Him being on the opposite side with Pierre Garçon, Robert Griffin, I think that's going to be able to give him the ability to come back and be the set quarterback in the pocket, go back to the pro set as he came up with in Baylor. I feel like that's going to be a perfect set. Let them run the pro set offense. Let Deshaun Jackson just be, let him just come into the program and start the receiver. Start and be just, the commanding receiver. Be a team leader and just be the ace receiver on the opposite side of the ball with the Washington Redskins.
Okay, what you think, Andre?
Well, let's be honest. let's be honest here. You know, Deshaun Jackson is no doubt one of the best receivers in the game, and defensive backs. You know, they already know when he in the game, you have to adjust your game. You know, you have to, and at any relaxed moment, you know, the defenders, he would slip up and get a touchdown or even a big first down. I think the best fit for Jackson would have been with the Jets. You know, they have Geno and Michael Vick at the quarterback position. We know Vick has the ability to run and throw, and Geno,
Right.
you know, he have also one of the calmest and best, you know, in pocket possessions with little reasons to run and make a big play. So with running back Chris Ivory, the Jets were getting, you know, a fast, solid, and alert back. Ivory proved that he is capable running back that can make big plays, and Deshaun Jackson at wide out, I feel they'll be unstoppable. But with the Redskins, you know, you got Alfred Morris, you know, he a good running back, and at wide receiver you have Santana Moss and Pierre. You know,
Right.
you know both of them, so that'll be a good set for him at, you know, Redskins. And RG3, we all know him coming off his injury,
Right.
and he still, you know, be able to win games.
Okay.
Well, what I want to add on to the teams that you did say, Andre and Adre, because you said he had left, you know, now with this Washington Redskins contract. So was a team such as like Seattle Seahawks, the 49ers, and also well as the Panthers, you know, because they just as well lost Steve Smith. So will they like, will that other option, will it be like help Deshaun Jackson like to a quicker road in the playoffs with him landing in at one of those teams, such as with him being on the quarterback with
Well,
Cam,
yeah,
with the
especially with
Panthers, as
Cam
you
Newton.
noted.
You know, Cam Newton, he also a good quarterback, and he need another receiver also, and they run game is solid. So I feel any team that have a good quarterback and a running game,
Which quarterback?
Deshaun Jackson is a good receiver by himself. So you can have a lot of, you know, little receivers, and you know he'll make the
Right.
other receivers play good by him. You know,
That's
by defenders, you know, trying to guard him and everything.
Y'all think like a quicker road would be like with Cam Newton or Geno? I mean Geno / Michael Vick or RG3. Who you think like would get like that faster pace roll onto the playoffs with Deshaun Jackson under the quarterback?
Well, I would say with Michael Vick, because Michael
Vick.
Vick, he's fast.
Vick.
You got a lot of things you got to watch out for him throwing and running. You got running back, then you got Deshaun Jackson. You know,
Well, what I thought was, I think the best fit for Deshaun Jackson would have been going back west to the Oakland Raiders. And they already have a viable option at the quarterback position, picking up Matt Schaub, and a good running game with the addition of Maurice Jones-Drew. All they needed was that deep threat that could have stretched the field. They also brought in veteran leadership to help them guide people down the right path, like Charles Woodson, Lamar Woodley, and Justin Tuck. These are all guys that have won something in their life and were brought in to change the culture and be role models to guys, and I think they would have done just that. Now, speaking of guys that have a little bit of off-the-field publicity, Johnny Manziel held his pro day last week. Do you guys think that he raised his draft stock with this workout?
Well, in the 2 years of Texas A&M quarterback, you know, he has raised many eyebrows being one of the best quarterbacks in college football where, you know, he won the Heisman Trophy as a freshman throwing 26 touchdowns. And, you know, as last season surpassed, you know, he hit that 4,000-yard mark, completing 37 touchdowns. But, you know, to answer your question, Felix, you know, where some others may find it hard for Johnny Football to raise his draft stock, but, you know, I can certainly say that he did hit his chances by being in a high draft pick. You know, the 21-year-old, he was impressive inside his workouts where he showcased his elite athleticism, which he predominantly does on the field by, you know, all the amazing plays and just drop back, stepping over, and being able to contribute these athleticism. But showing off, you know, at the pro day, he showed off his strong and accurate arm throwing to 6 different receivers, where in 65 pass attempts, you know, he just only threw 2 incompletions and taking an unconventional approach to his workout, wearing shoulder pads and a helmet, you know, so as he could think it as into that pro day practice with him wearing the shoulder pads, as you see right there in the picture, you could take that he did it as in practice, as in him playing on any first round of the Sunday.
Okay. How about you, Andre?
Okay, you know, to me, Johnny Manziel always been one of the best quarterbacks in the draft because, you know, he showed up and performed well at every game. So when I saw his pro day, you know, I felt how he performed. I saw an NFL-style QB. He had good accuracy and velocity. He showed his good mechanics on how well he moved around the pocket with under pressure drills. He stayed calm and delivered perfect passes. When I saw the throws, it wasn't too hard, wasn't too soft, with the ability to, you know, the receiver to catch and run. The play action fakes were perfect, and long throws were best to me. So, you know, he put the ball right there for the receiver to catch the ball. And despite his short height and how, the best quarterbacks to be, tall enough for the O-line, to block and defensive pressure, I can see Johnny Manziel being one of the best quarterbacks out the draft. This pro day event where it all started because, the players are in gear, and that's, and running around and lifting weights, that's well past.
Right.
And, with the gear on, that shows you how you're going to be on the field. And so the next step is how you can adapt in NFL pressure or in-game situations.
Okay. I think he did raise his draft stock. The main knock on his game was his mechanics, and he showed that he's cleaned that up a lot. He showed that he could take snaps from under the center and that he can handle the pressure, although he's a smaller quarterback. He's also may have changed the mold because he definitely broke it by working out in shoulder pads and the helmet, and he also had a DJ playing music. So coming up next, we give you a take on the playoff battle in the NBA at the bottom of each conference. We'll be back with more Sports Corner after this.
Our fitness center has state-of-the-art equipment that all students have access to. The hours are from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Our facility allows students to challenge themselves physically and mentally. For the physical part of it, we have treadmills, free weights, yoga mats, and many other machines that target upper and lower body strength. We have trainers that come in Wednesday between the hours of 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. for help, assistance, and motivation on each station available. The equipment that our facility holds is compatible with any other institution. That is the inspirational energy that dares you to go the extra mile, commit to that extra goal, and aim for those aspirations. You can throw in the towel or you can use it to wipe the sweat off your face.
And we're back. Last segment, we got into the Johnny Football's Pro Day and the best fit for Deshaun Jackson. Now, this NBA season is coming close to a close, and there are some tight races at the bottom of each conference. In the East, which team do you think will take the 8th seed, the Hawks or the Knicks?
Well, I have the Knicks taking the 8th seed because, they have won 7 out of their last 10 games. They had trouble early in the season, but seeing, to come back with their talent. Then with the signing of Phil Jackson and, with his history, there's no doubt in his mind that they have a chance at a championship. Mm-hmm. And, with the attitude right now, despite their record or how far behind they are, I have seen plenty of teams, unexpected to go to the playoffs, go as far as the finals. Mm-hmm. They may lose, but a win would be a tremendous coming from the bottom. I see the Hawks still struggling. They lost 6 out of the last 7 games. And the one that they won was with a team with the worst record in the NBA, which is 76ers.
Okay.
The New York Knicks, they will be the 8th seed inside the East. 32 and 43. That's the record right now that they're kind of shy of. Up under the record as an 8th seed. I think they're gonna return back into the Eastern Conference under the 8th seed before the Atlanta Hawks will. They went to the West Coast, and as he said, 7 out of the 10 games I had noted 3 out of the 5 games which they had beat the Utah Jazz, the Golden State, and the Sacramento Kings. Carmelo, he went inside, did what he was supposed to do, averaging over 40%, and scoring 27.9 averaging. And tonight, Tyson Chandler, they got to get back and play some D back in New York. Watch for him and Plumlee from Brooklyn Nets battle tonight.
Okay, well, I think the Hawks will eventually end up taking full control of that 8th seed, only because they have 9 games left, and 6 of those 9 are at home, and 5 of those games are against teams under 500, while the Knicks have 7 games left, all against playoff teams, all playing for seeding, and they're all above 500. So that's why I think that the Knicks won't make the playoffs this season. I'm sorry, you guys. In the West, there's a 3-team race between the Mavericks, the Suns, and the Grizzlies for the 7th and 8th seeds. Which team do you think will be the oddball out come the end of the season? I'm asking you, Andre. What you got?
In the West?
Yeah, in the West.
Well, in the West, I had Dallas, which I believe is going to make it, no doubt. Mm-hmm. They have, the unbeaten, beating the Thunders twice, and it doesn't have a tough schedule towards the end of the season. Mm-hmm. And then we have Phoenix. They may or may not make it, But I feel Memphis would not make it, and because they are struggling. You know, they still have a tough schedule and have to beat the Spurs. They have to beat the Heat, and you know they with their competition. And then they have to play the Suns, then the Phoenix. So with their competition that they have to win these games.
Okay. What do you think, Curtis?
Nope.
Nope. What?
Mavericks not gonna make it. Stay right there in the 9th seed. Came off a very tough loss last night versus the Golden State Warriors. The young Stephon Steven, however you want to call him, but Mr. Curry, he killed him before he not even going to overtime last night before at the buzzer beater. Mavericks, I think these guys are gonna have to just have to sit it out this year.
Well, I agree. I think the Mavericks will be the team left out come the end of the season. Compared to the Suns and the Grizzlies, the Mavs have 7 games left and will start a 4-game road trip this Thursday. They have back-to-back against the Clippers and the Lakers, and the Lakers have been playing pretty well, looking to play spoiler, followed by 2 young teams in Sacramento and Utah, where it's never easy to win. They end their season against the Spurs, the Suns, and the Grizzlies. Of the 3 teams, they have the toughest schedule.
Tough.
Yeah. Now, moving on, opening day was earlier this week for Major Baseball, and every team is optimistic to make a push for the pennant race. Which teams do you think we should keep an eye on this season?
Well, the team I would keep an eye on is the Cardinals, which after being, last season's runner-up in the World Cup, returned with a, roster completely loaded with talent. A lot of young, dominant and pitching staff that will, make them team a little better. But I feel any team who lost their opportunity when the championship is close in their hand and they fail, they always have a chip on their shoulder, and I feel that they're coming back this season and they're going to the World Series and may win.
Okay. What about you, Kirk?
As just in the opposite side of the American League, a lot of young, dominant, tough leaders inside the dugout. But as Detroit did until last year, as you mentioned with the St. Louis Cardinals, I expect for them to get back inside the major league talks and get them back into the World Series. Into with them, why the St. Louis Cardinals is because, they're gonna improve as young as Detroit is, and the same leadership with Detroit, what they can bring into their dugout, and like those both are both same teams that just know how to get there, and like they're just had those veteran banners under their belts and like go out and proceed to what the baseball game seasons is.
Well, you can't never forget about the Yankees. The Yankees they'll always be a good team every year.
Well, I'm going to tell y'all why you guys are both wrong. The team to keep an eye on is the Dodgers. They have pressure to win now. For the first time in over 15 years, a team other than the Yankees has the highest payroll in baseball. The Dodgers also have twice the payroll of any team in the NL West Division. They have one of the best lineups with Puig, Gonzalez, Ramirez, and Kemp to go along with the great pitching of Kershaw, Greinke, and Ryu. They should have a great season. This team should win the division and make a strong run for the World Series this year. Sorry to tell y'all. Y'all both wrong. I'm sorry.
It's just,
we don't know who wrong.
You made it hot in the dugout. It's gonna be the Dodgers. We gonna find out these seasons later on how everything.
You gotta watch out for the Miami Marlins too. They 2-0 right now.
I'm sitting here how the Cardinal base is on.
Okay.
Them boys getting there.
Well, this wraps up today's edition of Sports Corner. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to follow our Twitter and Instagram pages at BCU Sports Corner. I'm your host, Felix Reyes Jr.
And I'm Adre Miller.
I'm Curtis Kellings.
See you next week.